Hey everyone, my name is Danny Dumas, and this is the Earn Your Title podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about taking action and the importance of just, as Nike would say, just do it. Just take some action. So why am I talking about this? Well, in my life, I've come up with like philosophies or protocols. At work, we're driven by that. We do a lot of, if this is yes, then you do this, this, and this. If this is no, you do this, this, and this. So, for instance, I have a protocol that if I ever have to do CPR on somebody that's outside of work, when I'm not, I'm not a professional at the time, I'm just a bystander, I am not giving mouth-to-mouth resuscitation until you've been to my house. That is my protocol. I've already predetermined that. You're going to get amazing hands, chest compressions. I'm going to go get an AED. You're going to be okay, but I'm not doing mouth-to-mouth. That's kind of gross. So those are protocols. I've lived my life through these protocols. And one of the protocols that I use, and I highly encourage you to use, I'm going to explain why, is that when I make a decision, when I say yes to something, I want to take action as quickly as possible. That immediate action, even if it's small, has been so powerful in helping me be successful. I realize that when I make a decision, the longer I go without taking action, the higher likelihood that I will fail, or I will not be as successful when I take action. I've learned this protocol or this action taking through several experiences in my life. One of those being a real positive one is an example of my friend Hector. Hector Martinez he is a go-getter. If you don't have any Puerto Rican friends, I always suggest everyone needs a Puerto Rican friend. And I always say 2 would be too many. Hector is just a whirlwind of energy and ideas, and he just takes action. He decided he wanted to move to the United States to the mainland, and he left Puerto Rico, didn't speak English, got a job at Taco Bell, learned English at Taco Bell while playing basketball. Like he just sees something, he decides to do it, and he takes action. And one of those actions, he was his hometown in Puerto Rico, and all of Puerto Rico was hit by this major hurricane. It just devastated his community. And he saw this need. He saw his friends and family and community were struggling. They lacked some resources. So he made a decision. He said, I need to do something. I'm going to collect resources. So water, food, clothing, diapers, the basic necessities that they didn't have because their infrastructure was destroyed. He said, I'm going to collect this. I'm making a decision. And he did. He took action. He started collecting all these things. And as he's collecting these things, he had no plan. He did not know how he was going to get them to Puerto Rico. And if you're not familiar with Puerto Rico, you can't drive there from Michigan, right? So he has an entire garage full of supplies, like a whole semi-truck full of supplies. And he still doesn't know how he's going to get it. So he starts researching. Maybe I could ship it by a boat. Well, I got to get it to a port. What's the closest port? Maybe New York, somewhere on the East Coast, or maybe all the way down to Florida. So now I got to get a semi-truck to Florida, put it on a ship, put it in a shipping container, send it to Puerto Rico. Well, the timeline just wasn't going to work. There's no way he's getting it there. So now we got to fly it. We need a big cargo plane, C-130, something big, fill it up with supplies, and I'm going to take that there. Well, the cost to fly that down was just, it would have been better just to send the money. He didn't know what to do. So what did he do? He reached out to his network, and he found somebody who was friends with somebody that knew the general of Selfridge Air Force Base, or the captain, or whatever the guy running this Air Force Base. He had a connection. So he calls him. He's like, hi, my name is Hector Martinez. I'm native to Puerto Rico. My community was devastated. I've got a semi-truck full of supplies, and I'm trying to get it to Puerto Rico. And this general's like, can you have it here tomorrow? Because we have a plane flying with just a crew down there, and if you can get it here tomorrow, I can send it. So he had he had to weigh everything. So every item had to get weighed. They get this weight, and so he drives a semi-truck full of supplies that he got donated to the Air Force Base. He pulls up to the gate, and the guy at the gate's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm here to fly this stuff to Puerto Rico. He's like, says who? He didn't remember the general's name. He just knew he talked to this guy, and he panics. He's like, we don't have any record. You can't be here. You have to leave. He's like, wait. So he gets on the phone. Phone calls happen. Eventually, the guy's like, the security guard's like, okay, drive it to that plane over there. And Hector gets there. He gets off all the supplies off the plane, gets on the plane, flies to Puerto Rico. He gets on a plane, flies over there, and he distributes this. He meets a need. He helps his family, helps his community. And he did that because he said yes, and he took action. And those are, I cannot overemphasize how important the action part is. Now, I would like to distinguish between saying yes and taking action. I don't think you should just aggressively say yes or instantly say yes to everything. We get into major problems when we say yes. I think that should be if you have the time, should be a calculated decision that you slow down, you weigh the options, because anytime you say yes to something, you're saying no to everything else. When you say yes to a job promotion that requires travel, you're saying no to quality time with your wife and kids. And that can be okay if it lines up with a bigger goal or bigger purpose, but saying yes, I think, should be a slow, methodical, well thought out, well planned out decision, the yes part. After the yes, I think you should take immediate aggressive action, even if it's a small step. If you decide that, one day it's you're going out on a Friday night and you go to put your favorite pair of pants on and they don't fit, you decide, you make the decision to say yes to health, yes to fitness, yes to dieting, yes to whatever that is. Don't wait till Monday to take action. The immediate action might be, my pants don't fit, go do 10 push-ups. Take some action. It's an accumulative effect. You have to get the ball. I feel like action is like pushing a ball up a hill. And the hill does, it doesn't take forever to get up the hill, but you have to start pushing up the hill. And once you get to the top, the action to go down is easy. Gravity, momentum happens. It just goes. But you have to take that initial action. I have the opposite a story of action where I got to see this play out. As an officer, one of my jobs is to train new firefighters. So we get them in, we run them through a series of training, we get them prepped for the job. And we had this one firefighter who, initially, I thought maybe they just didn't have the attitude to do the job, like they didn't have the right mindset. And then I realized they were physically incapable. They just weren't in good enough shape, and they continued to fail at doing just the most basic things. I remember having a conversation one time. We were doing something very simple, and I told this firefighter, I'm like, listen, man, you can either quit and leave this job or you can finish. Right now, those are your only options. And it took them like 30 minutes to finish the evolution we were working through. So, I was a little frustrated with them, and we came back to the station. I'm like, what, let's have a conversation. And I told him, like, listen, my job is to make sure you go home safely at the end of the day. In order for that to happen, for you, it might be to go home safely from another job. This might not be your job. You might be done here. I'm not saying we're firing you. I'm not saying we're getting rid of you. But right now you're failing, and you're not safe. And you have to change. And for you, that's going to be to become physically more capable. You have to get stronger, and your cardio has to improve, because right now you're failing. So he said, okay. He's like, I can do this. He was confident. He said, I went to college for physical fitness. He was going to be a trainer. And I'm like, wow, that blows my mind, but okay. So he's like, I'm going to do something. Awesome. So the next day I see him, and it's halfway through the day, and I asked him, man, how's the workout going? He's like, it's going great. I just made my plan. I've got it all written out. I know exactly what I'm going to do. And I said, what do you mean your plan? He's like, well, I know what workout I'm going to do, and I know this. I'm like, did you work out today? He said, no. And I like to think I'm a calm person and that I'm patient. I lost it on this guy. I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, what do you mean you've got a plan? I don't care what your plan is. You have to go work. I'm like, go into the gym right now and pick something up and set it down until you're physically exhausted. I was so upset because this guy didn't take any action. He had this idea. Oh, I'm going to go plan. I've got this great plan. I'm going to do this many sets and this many reps, and I'm going to follow this diet program. And honestly, none of it mattered because he wasn't willing to go and sweat and do the work. He wasn't willing to take action. Thankfully, this individual went to another department, and I didn't have to deal with him. But I was so upset because he lacked the ability to take action. In his head, it was more important to plan the perfect plan than to take action. And I want to encourage you guys. Well, I think planning is important. As one of the great philosophers, Mike Tyson, said, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. The plan is only a brief part. One, because it's not going to happen. Your plan, no matter what it is, it's not going to happen. You're going to have things are going to occur that just you couldn't have planned for, and you're going to have to change and adapt. So while I think we should know where we're going and we should have a plan, you say yes, have an initial plan, head that direction, but take action. Action taking is going to be the difference between highly successful people and marginally successful people, or just totally unsuccessful people, is that ability to take action. The exciting thing is it doesn't need to be a big action. If you decide, I'm going to get healthy, maybe the action is to get on Amazon or order a pair of tennis shoes because your other ones are garbage and they hurt your feet when you run. If your idea is to I want to start a business, I want to be an entrepreneur, I've got this great idea, go on Google domains, type up the name of the business you want and buy the domain name, because eventually you're going to need a website. Take some action. Action taking is really what separates the winners from the losers. They're willing to, even without the knowledge of how you're going to get to where you're going to go. Like I think about my friend Hector. He didn't know how he was going to get a semi-truck full of stuff to Puerto Rico, and that part didn't matter because he hadn't gathered it up yet. If he had to try to figure out all the steps, well, if I get a semi-truck full of stuff, how am I going to get it down there? That part wasn't important, the getting it down there part, until he had acquired all the stuff to fill up a semi-truck. After that, he could figure out, the plan would figure itself out, and it did, but he took action, and so he was successful. So what in your life have you always wanted to do? You want an amazing marriage, you want open communication, you want, intimacy, you want all that. Well, maybe it starts today with texting your wife that you love her, that you're thankful that you have a clean house, that she's a good mom. That's the action that you take today that gets you to the 30-year anniversary, the 50-year anniversary where you guys are still enjoy each other's company. It's the little action. You have to take action. You can't plan on having a great relationship and just plan. You have to take action. So there's something in your life that you've always wanted to do, and my challenge for you today is to take action, to make something happen. If you don't know really what you want, maybe you're just wandering around like, man, I just want a better life. I have the Earn Your Title Challenge. It's a 28-day challenge where you get 14 actions that you can take every single day that will help you in your financial world, your physical world, your relationship, those three spheres, those three circles of your life. It will help you. So in the show notes, there'll be a link to click on the Earn Your Title Challenge. I encourage you to do that. Take some action today. Find something, take a small action. Again, just do something. So this has been the Earn Your Title podcast. My name is Danny Dumas. I'll see you later. Bye.